after 3 with Sheena Speaks. She drops 3 and you make moves. You don't have nothing to prove.
Let it kick and if it hits, let it sit. If it clicks, let it hit, let it sit.
All right, what's up, everybody? Today I am sitting with Coach Kevin Voisin, a successful entrepreneur and powerhouse coach who's coached over 30,000 people, spoken on 5 continents, completed an Ironman 70.3. Don't even know if I said that right, but I want to ask about that. Served as an elected official through Hurricane Katrina and somehow still managed time to raise 5 kids and blend a family across state lines. He describes his style as love that can come as a hug or a slap for men, slap to the face, depending on what you need. I tend to say I'll grab you by the collar and then I'll hug you. So clearly, I believe we're like cut from the same cloth, which is why I really wanted to talk to him about his perspective and his approach to life and coaching. Coach Kevin, welcome to After 3. How you doing?
Thank you. So excited to be here. Thank you for having me. Yeah, we got a lot of common thread.
We do. I binged your IG and I got questions. It was so good. I felt the love, I felt the hugs, and I felt the slaps to the face. It was so good, but we're going to get to that. But I wanted to ask you about the Ironman 70.3. Can you just tell us, like, what exactly is that?
So there's the full Ironman, and then they used to call the Ironman 70.3 the half Ironman. So it's half. I promise you, when you move your body 70.3 miles, it doesn't feel like half of anything. So Adam started demanding that it get a better name than half because, 1.2 miles, you bike 56 miles, and then you run 13 miles all back to back to back. It doesn't feel like half of anything. So they changed it to the Ironman 70.3. And I think in Europe, they call it the mid distance, right? So
Okay.
the full Ironman is twice that, which I'm
That's
signed up to
crazy.
do in November of this year. So I'm training for that right now.
Oh,
Yeah, so it's I don't know, there's something about it. There's something about not stopping. It's not
Yeah,
about going fast. It's not like I'm gonna win. My first Ironman 70.3, I actually finished dead last. I was last.
really.
It was called the half back then. It wasn't called 70.3, it's just the half
Yeah.
Iron. So I
Yeah.
guess I'm an Ironman. I'm fine with that. Fine. I remember it. I just remember I had been training and I'd been swimming, almost 2 miles in training, and the swim's only 1.2 miles, which is not that. This particular race, they had it across a lake. So you would when you got there, you put all your stuff in transition, and you either walked way around or they had a little shuttle that would take you to the start. And so, you train in a pool. And so a really big pool is, 100 yards long. And I remember standing on the dock, and it's just one point, it's just straight. It's off this lake. And I remember telling my wife, I'm like, I can't swim that far. Are you gonna drown? I'm like, no, I was like, actually, I can swim twice that far, but I've never seen it like this so far,
Different
but
perspective, right?
turns out I could swim that far. I finished the swim, no problem. The bike was pretty tough. It was hill country. I'm from South Louisiana, so I'm from
Right.
it is deep and flat. I was born 6 feet below sea level. Everything is flat, and like in a bowl. We were in Austin in hill country, so there's a lot of hills. I didn't train for hills. I was exhausted after the bike, and the funny thing is, I quit. Like in my head, I sat down. I was like, man, I didn't train for this.
You're
This
like,
is
I
my
can't
first.
do
This is
it.
my first triathlon. Of course, like me
Okay.
being who I am. Of course, I signed up for a half Ironman on my first triathlon, and I just like I can't do this. Like I'm done. I'm impressed that I finished the bike. I quit, and right when I thought that I quit, I heard my kid from the side. My kid screaming, "Go, Dad! You gotta go,
Oh,
Daddy!" Right, and
so
I'm
you
like, "Oh
had
man,
to.
I can't quit right now."
Let me go down to quit over there, but I can't quit right now.
I really, truly, the plan was I'm going to put my shoes on. I'm going to run past the kid, right? I'm going to run past my kid far enough she can't see me, and then I'm going to quit. I mean, honestly, that is the only reason I got out of transition.
Look at
And
that.
yeah, but then I felt a little better, and I felt a little better. By the time I ran past
Okay.
her, I was like, well,
Oh, so your
maybe I
baby
can.
gave you the juice you needed to get
Yeah, and
through
the
the
way that
race.
that course was, you ran like halfway out, and then you had to come back, and so by the time I was halfway, I mean, I had to go back anyway, so I guess I could just walk, and it was rough. I was dead last. Never been so proud to be dead last in a race in my life, but I finished.
Yes. Oh, that's so cool. So I wanted to ask you, how did you get here, right, to what you're doing today? When did you realize, you know what, this is what I need to be doing? Being this amazing coach to all these people. Was there a moment, or did you like wake up one day? It's like, okay, I'm doing the thing that I was born to do.
I think so. I think when you're doing what like whatever you were born to do, right? So for me, I'm light in the night. I wake the sleeping giants. Like if I was going to say the purpose of my life is to wake the sleeping giants. The
Yes.
problem with that purpose of life is most of the sleeping giants don't think they're asleep, right?
Right.
Because most giants, right, they can do a lot without trying. So they're working at 20, 30%, and they're beating all their friends. So they feel like, oh, I'm killing it,
I'm
right?
good.
But when you find your real purpose in life, whatever that is to you will see it backwards and forwards in your life immediately. You'll realize that, oh, I was always this and I'm always going to be. Yeah. So yes, now I'm officially like a full time coach. That's what I do. I do speaking. I do, yeah, sure. But I was always this. Right before I became a full time coach, I was running a marketing agency and I was, doing projects for people in marketing and sitting down and talking to them and consulting. And I remember I had a client, we had this big ad campaign about to go out. And so I was going to get the check for the ad campaign and I was going to talk to her about what we were going to do with the money, And I said, hey, we got a great plan for you. Let me show you. And she literally said, hey, look, here's the check. It's good, right? I trust you. Like you good. And I'm like, yeah, it's really good. She's like, you mind if we just talk about my marriage? Because honestly, you helped me so much in my life. Like I trust this. And when I left that meeting, I remember thinking, wait a second, she's paying me to do marketing so that I'll come and coach with her. Why not?
Wow.
I'm a coach. Like, I'm okay, cool. Like, I actually don't have to do the marketing part. I could just be the coach.
Right, let me just do this. Right, right. And I wanted to ask you about that because that resonates with me as well. So I read that, you talked about like navigating divorce, remarriage, and like blending that family across states. I've been through divorce myself. I'm not remarried yet. So if you know somebody, I'm
Got it.
joking.
I'll work
Joking, but
on it.
not joking.
I'll keep back in my mind.
Right. I'm not remarried yet, but I know for me, that experience really grew me as a person, and it really helped me to sharpen a lot of my edges and really just grow in ways that I just wasn't expecting to. And some of what I teach, I've literally had to use that on myself. So
Oh, of
as
course.
you were going through all of that, are there some of the things that you currently teach the people that you personally had to use for that?
All of it. I mean, I always tell my clients I'm a great coach because I've made all the mistakes. Like I
Yes.
I somehow have to learn everything teeth first, right? Like I have to hit every ground face first and bounce and like it. I've learned a
Yes.
lot of things, and I will tell you that divorce is very difficult. And the bootstrapping a company, blending a family is it's just really tough. People think of divorce and they think it breaks up families and it makes these little broken families. But if you've
Well,
lived it, that is the total opposite of what's
yep.
true. A divorced family creates a hydra. And so it's like a monster with 100 heads. Like all of a sudden there's like two moms and two dads, and they're
Right.
not really dads, but they're kind of dads. And then all there's grandpa. I mean, my
Yeah.
kids, I remember the third year we were blending the family. My son said, Dad, could we stop getting presents and just like play with the toys we got? I'm like, what are you talking? He's like, yeah, this is like the fourth Christmas we've been to. Cause every grandparent invites and so I never thought there was like an exhaustion of, yeah, but my son was like, "Why do we have to keep going places? Can we just play with the stuff we have?" Like
Right.
and it's an interesting thing. Like I think also people think divorce is this when you're miserable in a marriage. And look, I think that I'm not against divorce, right? So I'm going to say some negative things, but I'm it's almost all of the greatest things that have happened to me initially presented as trauma. I thought,
Yes.
"Oh my god, my life is dying," and then I realized, wow,
Yes.
no, it's actually starting. Like this is a big open door, but
Yes.
but it doesn't feel nice in the moment. Like so,
It
just
does
to
not.
be clear, it presented as trauma. Most people, I think, they're in a miserable marriage, or they think, oh, I got to end this, or maybe they're just in a mildly bad marriage, and I think that they think that divorce is like this surgical thing, and they're
Yeah.
like, well, I don't want to lose my left arm, but the truth is, I'm right-handed, and if I get the left arm removed, I'm going to be better off and it's going to
Yes.
be fine, right? And so then they pull the trigger like, yeah, let's do this. And what I find is instead of a surgeon who walks in to remove their left arm, it's like this guy with cross eyes and he's got this rusty axe and they kind of loosely puts him on a table and he misses first hit and then he misses again and then by the end you just like rip it off like, oh my god, like just get rid, like it's a tough thing. Like
It
I
really is.
believe that divorce can be very happy, a very positive thing in certain scenarios, but it will not come without taking its pound of flesh. It will not come without a lot of
Oh, yeah, yeah. It don't feel good, but if everybody does the thing, like it could be a beautiful thing. Like after going through it, it is rough. It's rough and
yeah,
tough.
it makes you rearrange your whole worldview, and look, I'm remarried and I'm super happy.
Yes.
I couldn't be happier. I mean, truly, like I'm just, it's really a good thing. But think about it, right? Like I told someone I'll be with you forever, I'll never leave you, and then that credibility do you have the second time? I mean, how
Right.
much credibility do you have the third time? It forces you to mature, and it forces you to see this truth that everything changes and everything ends. Everything.
Yeah.
My relationship with my wife now, we really have had 2 or 3 different relationships. I mean, they're with the same person, right? So sometimes relationships change and you go have relationships with different people. A lot of times you have a new relationship with the same person. Right at 50,
I
I'm better. I mean, it's not, I wouldn't go back. Okay. I mean, there's little tiny aspects that I might go back to, like not
Yeah.
having so much gray in my beard. There might be things I wish that I had, but generally I wouldn't go back. But we've had 3 very distinct relationships, but we just stayed with the same person, and you can do
Right. So
that too.
it evolved, right? It evolved as you all evolved, right? Because I think as we get older or things happen, like we change and you gotta evolve with each other. I like that. I've never heard that
Yeah,
idea
well, you
before.
have to grow, yeah, especially, like, if you're in a relationship with someone for a long time, like, say you've been married for 10 years or 20 years, or, the truth is, at that point, whatever your spouse is about to say, probably 95 or 98% chance you know what they're about to say. And so you start to stop listening and you just hear the pattern. You just hear what they used to say. The problem with that is 100% of the growth of that other person is going to happen in that 2% of the time you don't know what they're about to say. Just jump to it. If you just assume, then that person can never grow. Wife and I have done a lot of growing together recently. And at one time I said to her, listen, I get it. You're right. Like what you think I'm about to say, I can even admit that I've probably said it 100 times, but you already have heard what I used to say, and you're right, and I've grown, but could you just give me a second to say something different?
Right.
Because I'm trying to agree with you, but I'm getting angry right now, you won't let me talk, right? Like,
It's like the sentence is gonna end differently. Just hold on and let
yeah,
me get it
yeah.
out.
And I think that's so important. Like in a relationship, you're both good. Everything changes, everything ends. All right. So let's
Yeah.
imagine that this time around, I was right. This is the person I'm going to spend my whole life with, and it's not going to end bad, right? Still going to end. Like I'm going to die, she's going to die. How it's going to end, but it will end, right? And
Right.
it will change. And you lose the expectation that things will stay forever and that things will never change. When you let them be what they are, it's actually pretty beautiful, and it actually will inspire you to do even more with your life.
Oh my gosh,
Because
I love
you don't get to stay the same. I'm 50. I wish I could be 20 forever. I mean, I don't wish my brain stayed 20 forever. I mean, let's be clear. I want to run like I ran when I was 20, but I want to think like I think when I'm 50. Right? I mean, Muhammad Ali said, "The man who has the same opinions at 50 as he did at 20 has wasted 30 years." Right? And I couldn't
Yes.
agree more with that.
So I wanted to on your website, you talk about, you say you help people like stop living the lies and live on purpose, on fire, and on point. What are the most common lies you see people telling themselves that keeps them stuck?
You're not most people are not gonna like this. The most common lie that people tell themselves is, "I'm good. I'm
Mm,
good. I'm good. I'm
yeah,
good. Yeah, I don't
yeah,
need that. I'm good." That's not, you're not good more than likely. Most of us, there's always a next level. There's always the next thing.
yeah,
And I feel like I'm good is just like dying, you will die, everyone. Like, you really don't have to live. No one's going to come and make sure that you reach. And I'm not talking about like, it's so cliche to say like reach your full potential. What the hell does that even mean? I don't know. I'm just saying, do you want a life that matters? Like, first off, to you, like, do
yeah,
you want to have done something that you look back and be like, wow, that was amazing, even if it fails, right? Like, recently I've been the COO of a company called Apogee.
Hmm.
and we have opened up over 150 schools in Canada, America, and
Nice.
Australia. Everything changes, everything ends. At some point, I won't be doing that anymore. And you know what? I'm going to look back and be like, damn, look at all the kids whose lives were better. They learned to be like
Yeah,
real leaders, right? If it all disappeared tomorrow, the lessons and the benefit in those families' lives will not disappear.
that's
So
right.
that mattered. Like I did something that I can look back that I feel, not that you think matters, not that someone
Yeah,
else thinks. I'm like, yeah, that mattered. I look at families and the dad is in that family with an incredible relationship with his kids. I had a guy, one of my best friends, when I first met him, he was a client and he was afraid to hold his own baby because he was sure that he was going to be a terrible father like his dad was. And he's like, I don't even want to hold this baby because I'm not worthy of this. Right. And so this is where we started. Right. And not that long ago, he canceled a trip with me because he wanted to go do this other thing with this kid who's now
a
son.
great dad. Yes,
Yeah, that that mattered, like, those conversations matter, impact matter, and your life can matter that way too, and in some ways, social media has screwed us up because a lot will say, "Well, I'll never be Tony Robbins." Yeah, you probably won't. Like, I won't. Like, you'll never be the number 1 guy on the whole damn earth to
right.
inspire people through whatever it is that Tony does, like, he does whatever he doesn't do, I don't know what he doesn't do. But 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 so what? Like, there are hundreds of people around you, or there are 10 people around. Maybe you just get to inspire you. That's already you. I mean, that's already something rare. But once you get you, then you can inspire your family. And once you inspire your family, you can inspire your community. Parks changed the whole world, but she that wasn't her. It's the Rosa Parks story to me is one of the best stories ever because it wasn't. There was not some giant social justice plan. It was like, no, I'm not getting up. Like,
That's
it was
right.
just so it was so and I'm gonna say petty, and I mean that in the best way, like, it was like, "No, this is dumb, and I just don't wanna do this
And I'm not
anymore."
doing it right.
Yeah, I'm not gonna play this game anymore, and yes, I understand that it grew into something and it was in the context of something, but it wasn't some giant it wasn't like she read on Instagram,
She had a
"Today's
whole
the day we're"
strategy made up
No!
and just
It was just like, "This is dumb. I'm not doing this anymore." And every one of us can do those things. Because look, she isn't alone. There's probably 200 Rosa Parks we never heard the story of. We don't know who they are. And maybe, everyone I grew up in the South. There's probably like a woman who never gave up her seat and just everyone let her have her seat and nobody ever heard about it. Like she just never sat in the back. Look at Frederick Douglass, man. That
yeah,
guy shouldn't have existed did, right? He just said, I know I'm gonna do all these things and they'll probably kill me, but I'm gonna do it anyway. And guess what? So I think there's that in all of us. But we the fact that you aren't gonna be Gandhi or the fact that you aren't gonna be Elon Musk doesn't mean you shouldn't start something that matters. Like there's legend in every life, but so few of us live it. So few of us give ourselves
yeah.
permission to even try.
That is so good. I was, like I said, I was binging on your IG and you had a reel where you talked about, being behind and you're only behind if you compare yourself to other people. And I just feel like that resonated as well because people spend their time, but, oh, I want to be this person. I want to be Tony Robbins or I want to be, but that might not be what your impact is, right? So it's like, don't compare yourself to other people. Be who you are and do what you do in your lane.
Tony Robbins, and I don't know why it's funny that I'm picking him, but pretty taken, right? Like
Right.
Frederick Douglass is taken, like that's done, but you are not. And who you are, you are a completely unique individual,
Yes.
right? The combination of DNA and everything else about you
Mhm.
and environment and all of it will never be duplicated again. There's nothing else like you. Now,
Yeah.
that's true also for all of us, just like everyone else, right? Just like everyone else. We're all that's what's cool about us but it's just weird to see that we all try to be the same thing. We go online and we find the 10 hacks to be a successful podcaster and we go do all the same 10 things. But
Yeah.
that's not going to work. You have the thing that works for you. I mean, and maybe, there's some basic concepts. You got to make it work for you. You got to create a life that works who you are.
Yeah.
If you grow up and you're 7'2" or you grow up and you're 4'1", you're going to have wildly different lives
Yep.
but they're gonna not have less or more value, and there's not less or more opportunity to be a great, awesome person. It's just you're gonna live different because of what you are, like because of how
Yeah.
you grew. I guess medical technology is pretty awesome and everything, and we can change everything about ourselves. We can change our nose
I
and our
know.
chin and our but at the end of the day, you are who you are. You're not
Yeah.
gonna recode all your DNA to be someone you're not.
Exactly.
And accepting that person and wanting to improve that person, cool part of life.
It really is. I want to talk to you now about like counseling versus therapy because this is one that hits home for me as well. And I saw your insights on your YouTube where you talked about how what you do is not counseling. I'm the
No,
same way. Well, my clients is even in my contracts. This is not counseling. And I agree with you 1,000% on it. Where I want to go a little bit deeper is something that I tend to experience with my clients is as people are talking to me, I'm listening and I'm looking for the root so I can help unstick them or help to unlock. I'll ask a simple question and the tears will start flowing and then I hear all the trauma that they had
yeah,
in
yeah,
their life.
yeah.
I can't touch that, right? Like even on your video, you was like, listen, you got trauma, you got mommy issues, daddy issues. I can't touch that. So while counseling is not therapy, how do you deal with the person who they keep getting in their own way because of
Sure.
those things?
Yeah, the way I like to say this is coaching, not counseling. I'm a coach, I'm not a counselor, right? And things, right? Counseling and therapy. And look, it's kind of blending. Like there are people who are counselors and therapists who will do some coaching, and there are coaches who have a background in therapy and counseling. But when you just look at it, individually. Coaching is what's a coach? A coach, the original word, if you look up the word coach in a dictionary, the first thing you're going to see is a horse-drawn carriage,
Yeah.
usually closed, right? And that's a
Yes.
pretty good definition of what we are. We're a way of getting from this spot to this spot and navigating, right? So it's like, where am I? Where do I want to go? And how do I navigate that? In any aspect of life, or maybe your whole life, as a coach, I'm worried about right now and creating the future. Where am I now and where do I want to be?
Yeah.
Right. And this is the same for sports teams. What's the purpose of the coach? The coach is like, hey, here's the season. We want to be champions. Here's the things we have to do to solidify. It's where are we right now and where
Right.
do we want to be? The coach. A therapist is mostly like, where are you right now and how did you get there? And how can we heal the things that got you there? That, maybe took
Right.
you're a whole being, you're healing traumas, you're dealing with the past so that you can walk forward in a new way. Coaching and counseling work really well together, truly. They're
Right.
very different, but they work really well together
Yeah.
because it's good. You need that. Like some issues are so deep that no matter what coaching you get, you're not going to fix that, right? I had a client recently who had a really traumatic past with his dad, and every now and then this thing would get triggered in his family, and he would come to me, and I'm like, "Look, I can give you all sorts of tactics. Here's the thing, though. What you really need is to heal that thing, and that's not me. And I have some people I work with that can help you with that. And when you heal that, and then we keep doing the way that I tell people it matters is if you fall in a hole, let's say that you're walking down the street and you fall in a 6-foot pit, right? You're just walking and I don't know what happened, but now you're in a hole 6 feet underground. You can't even see the ground, right? How you got there really doesn't matter much in that moment.
Right. You got to get out.
Like why you're there, how you feel about
Yeah.
being there become very irrelevant because you just need to get out. Coaching is about getting out of the pit.
Yes.
Now, what I find is once you're out of the pit, it's really easy to turn around and be like, that's how I fell in there. Okay. Counseling is more about how do we not fall into the pit?
Right.
How do we fill the pit so it's not there to fall in? And that's also coaching is more like let's get out and let's get moving. You also, when you're in the pit, have very little perspective to know what happened. Like no amount of why will get you moving forward in your life. Like let's say something happened, like your spouse cheated on you and your whole life just shattered, right? Your whole worldview just shattered. There's no amount of why that's going to make you feel better. Like
Right.
could be is all irrelevant. It's happened. Now, who do you want to be inside of that, and where are you going to go? Cool, you start a new relationship or whatever. Now the why kind of matters, and the how kind of matters. But experiences when you hit a trough, when you hit a hard spot in life, getting up and out of it is very easy to turn back around and look at it and say, "Oh,
Yeah.
this is what I'm not going to do next time." Of spending all my money on trips when I'm killing it, I'm gonna save half of that money. I'm gonna have save half. So whenever I think I'm never gonna have anything bad happen again, so the bad happens, I'll have a savings account. Okay, cool. Right. But what
That's
people
good.
do is they fall in this hole and then they want to know why before they even try to get out. But that's not reality.
Yeah. It's like, let's get you out and moving.
Imagine, right? Imagine like a dog attacks you. You got gashes and you're trying to reason with, hey, why are you doing this? Why is this happening? Right? You don't care. Just get it off. Like, no, we'll figure out that you should that bacon lotion or whatever, like next week. We can look initially, let's just get the dog off your leg, right? Let's stop the problem. But it's as much as we're laughing right now, people they
Yeah.
will let something just hurt them more and more and more until they quote
Yes.
unquote until they understand it. Well, I just need to understand it. Do
Right.
you people do not understand how to build an internal combustion engine? You have to understand it before you do it. Think about, do you really understand it? You probably don't. No, I don't. I mean, I know a
I
lot
don't
about
know.
cars, but I don't fully if I had to fully understand my car to use it, I wouldn't go very far.
Right. So I want to talk now about powerful imperfection that you talk about taking action even when you're not ready. I am a person that is constantly battling perfection. I've been wanting to launch my podcast forever, but I wanted all the bells and whistles. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to start and it's going to be what it is. And people are watching me just refine and get better along the way, which is why the first year of it, I called it season 0. It was just audio. I didn't do no
Like,
editing. And I'm like,
yeah.
yeah, I'll get all the bells and whistles later. Now we're in season 1. Now I got the video and I got lights and and I'm just going to keep getting better. So what would you say to the person who kind of uses that idea to just be sloppy or an excuse for just doing stuff halfway or
Let me tell you 2 things. 1, and you're like, you are the bell and you are the whistle. We look for the bells and whistles because we don't see that we're it.
yes,
You're it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was always about you to begin with. Like, just be
I'm gonna
you
get
and
that
let
on a
that
t-shirt. I'm the bell and the whistle.
why not? I mean, it's the truth, right? It's the truth. I have another thing that I wanna say is, for me, shitty done is better than beautifully planned.
Okay.
Right?
I
Like
like
like,
that. Okay.
perfectly planned is nothing. That means nothing. You've done
Right.
nothing. I have a perfect plan. Who cares if you have a perfect plan? Like, I have a perfect plan to make $1,000,000,000. Is there any money in my account? I don't know, but I have a perfect plan, right? We know a shitty $1,000 really beats a perfect plan for $1,000,000,000. I just tell you, when it's in the account. And so thing is, like, when it comes to perfection, I can tell you how to be perfect, and I can tell your audience, 100% chance. Here's how to be perfect. Are you ready? Like, in one
Yeah.
word, I can give you the secret to perfection.
Okay.
Just lie. Just lie. Because there is no perfection. When it comes to humans, no perfection. And that is not the next thing that'll happen is a certain group of the audience will start getting upset and saying, well, you're just saying we should be mediocre. You're saying there is
Mm.
no greatness. No, 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 no. That's not what I said. Perfection is a lie, but greatness, right? Excellence is achievable. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
But perfection is a lie. Why? This is why. I'm going to take you to something totally different, right? I'm assuming at some point in your life, this is an issue for some of our younger kids, but for you, you've walked outside, right? You've been outside
Yeah.
walking around at some point in your life.
Right.
And if you walk out on the beach, right? You walk out on the beach, you look out over the water, and what do you see? You see the horizon.
Right.
Yeah, and the horizon is where the air touches the water out over the ocean, or if you turn around towards the land, it's where the air touches the land out in the distance. Guess what the horizon is? Totally fake. It's a lie. It doesn't
Mm.
exist. Where touch the water? Everywhere. Every single square inch of the atmosphere touches the land and earth, the water and land everywhere. But your mind manufactures that line to help you navigate your surroundings. You see, oh, okay, I could go that way, I could go this way. It's a lie in that it isn't a real place. You'll never stand on the horizon. If you walked, the horizon would just move, right? But it's super useful. It's super useful. It helps you to navigate who you are, where you want to go. In fact, it's so useful, Sheena, that if you fly an airplane, so I had a sport pilot license, there's a mechanical horizon in the airplane because if you get into clouds, we need that so much to stay right. That looking at a mechanic, we even have a machine to tell us where the horizon is, even though it's not a real place. Why? How important it is for navigation. Now come back to perfection. Perfection is like the horizon for growth in your life.
Mm.
It's you seeing what's possible. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay. But I'm going to tell you what's going to happen with perfection, because there was a moment when perfection was great sound. And you're like, oh, but now I have to do video. And now perfection is, oh man,
Right.
that's my hair, that's my lipstick, that's my
Yes.
background, that's my, like I have all these lights behind me. And guess what though? After I spent like $2,000 on the lights, then I had to spend 5,000 on the camera. And then once you spend that, you find the next the perfection closer too, just like the horizon. So it's perfection is a great way to navigate and a great way to set a standard, but it's horrible to think that you'll actually be perfect. You won't. You're a human
Yeah.
being.
It doesn't
The better
exist.
right, the better you get, the more problems you'll see. The better you get at something, the more levels there are to fail at and the more mistakes there are to make, right? So what I say is like instead of focusing on being perfect, just be powerfully imperfect.
Mm.
Can you move the needle? Can you look, parents are this parenting is the perfect. You are not ready for your kid. Like if right now you're about to have a kid, you are not ready. I have had I was the least ready for the fifth kid because he was so different
Really?
than the other ones. Like it's not, I mean, I could wipe a butt. I mean, I could
Right,
do
right.
the, you know what I mean? But he was so different. Everyone different. If I wrote a book on how to raise a kid with my first kid, I could just throw it
You have
away
to
for
write
the
another
second
one
kid.
for the other.
Right, they're not the same. What do you know? Like, it's not so you're not ready. But if you just show up and try, I'll tell you a story. So my kids, I had a terrible divorce, and look, it's my fault. I cheated, created this trauma. I was a cheater. I didn't know who I was, and that translated to my relationship. And I don't feel sorry for anybody because hey, we all created our own lives together, and there's reasons
Yeah,
that everything happens. But at the end of the day, I'll own
you own
I
that.
had no moral high ground. I had no integrity in this relationship. I'll say I deserve everything that I got, right? So nothing about this that is a sad sack, okay? But I will say in my divorce, I signed a paper, and in that was the right for her to move with her parents 9 hours away. And
Mm,
I never considered that that would actually happen. I just didn't want to be the guy who kept her from doing it. In my head, now I was wrong in this thing. I didn't even check of like what are the flights to there. I just thought, hey, whatever happens, I'll fly. I'll do whatever. I'm not going to let my kids go away. Right? Didn't know that the 9 hour drive was actually faster than flying there because there was no direct flight. So it's
wow.
actually the fastest way to get there was driving nine. So within 48 hours of my divorce or 72 hours of my divorce, my kids moved 9 hours away. In that moment, though, I became a dad. 'Cause in that moment, I was like, "Oh, wow. Like, wait a second, like, this it would be so easy to fall out. I have every excuse now. It's impossible to go see him. It's so far 18-hour drive 18 hours of driving every other weekend for almost 10 years." Okay? Again, not a sad story, not I
Right.
earned that. I earned that. But but at a moment inside of that, like, probably 3 months after this started, and I'm going every other weekend, it's just really tough, driving till 4 in the morning. I would sleep in the car. It's like, do you wanna pay for a hotel for 2 hours until you pick up the kids? Just almost feeling like a homeless person. It was a really tough time. I remember my father was still alive, and I sat at his desk, and I was crying, saying, "My kids are so far away. I don't know if they're hearing me. I don't know if I have any influence at all. I just think I'm like this guy who shows up for 4 days every other week, and I don't know what they think of me, and I know that I would think bad of me, like, how did I let this happen? Like, how have I don't know what to do, like, I just I want them to hear me, and I want them to love me, and I want to be the dad that
Yeah.
they need to be, and I'm
Right.
crying. I mean, I'm broke.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm
yeah.
I'm I'm kinda ugly crying, and my dad on the other side of his desk just starts laughing. He's like
Are you
giggling.
serious?
No, I'm not even kidding. Like, he just kinda starts giggling, and I'm taken aback, right? And I
You're
was,
like, "I'm
"Dad,
pouring out my heart."
why are you laughing at me?" And he says, "No, no, no, I don't mean it ugly." He said "What you're describing right now is not what it feels like to be a divorced dad far away from your kids. Like, you were always in my house. I lived 10 feet down the hall from you your whole life, and I felt that way every night. Is he really
Wow.
hearing me? Do I really have the influence? Can I really help him? You are not feeling worse. You're feeling what it's like to be a dad. You care." He said, and he said, "And you know what? I'm laughing first off because I get to see you feel how I felt my whole life with you. Now, I know you're going to be okay because as a
Right.
father, and this is true for a mother too, he's like, there's only three things you can do.
Yeah,
That's it.
I can relate.
You do those things, then that's it." And he's like, "You know what? Some of your kids might not figure it out because, they have
Right.
their own free will too. Maybe they will." He said, "But you can always know, did I show up? Did I care? And did I do everything I knew how to do? And if you say yes to those things, then that is the golden standard of parenthood." Now, what you notice is none of that includes perfection. None of that
Right.
includes do the right thing. People love to
Right.
say do the right thing. And it's not that I disagree with what they're trying to say, but so often in life, we have no idea what the right thing is. We
Right.
get to do what we know how to do. We can do
Yeah,
everything we know how to
figure it
do, and
out.
then that's our limit.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's so good. That's so good. So what about ego? In my work, I deal with ego a lot with, clients. And sometimes it's a nasty little culprit, something that, we have to deal with. But you talk about using ego as a tool or mastering your ego. Like, what do you
Sure.
mean by that?
Sure. Well, you in order to become an adult, you've got to develop an ego or a conscious mind that sees itself as an individual, right? So the
Hmm.
ego is like you saying, "Hey, I'm Kevin or I'm Sheena," and you got to do it. You're not going to become an adult without developing that. The second that you do, though, it becomes kind of a cage, and now you're stuck because I'm this thing and I'm nothing else, and now you have to be right all the time, right? Your mind is a
Right.
survival tool, right? Your mind was it developed to keep you alive. Like
Yes.
your mind's job, your conscious mind's job is keep you alive and talk to other people, mostly
Hmm.
to keep you alive, right? It all just comes back to keep you alive. Now, we try to use this survival tool to thrive, and you can, but you got to remember by default, it just has you survive. And so it always has to be right. Your brain, you'll start to believe that every thought you have is true.
Right.
Even though that's so obviously not true. Like if every
Right.
thought I had was true, oh my gosh, this would be first off a really screwed up world. But second off, like it just can't be. But your mind wants every thought to be true because that's what keeps you alive. So if it makes mistakes, then you could
Hmm.
die. Well, you can die. So can I. All of us can. Right? So what we want to do is start to train ourselves to realize that not everything we think is true,
Yeah.
that we can use our mind as a tool because that's what is only our mind, right? If I say point to your conscious mind, almost everyone points right here to their forehead,
Yeah.
right behind their eyes. If I say point to your subconscious mind, now some people will point to their heart, some people point to their brainstem, some people point to their groin, some people point to their gut, But the truth is, your subconscious mind is every other cell of you. Every other part of you is your subconscious mind. It's all of you. It's all right. Mind is a tool, just like your hands are a tool. But because you can see your hands, right? You never get confused and think that you're just hands, right?
Yes.
You can see them. Your mind lives behind your eyes, and so sometimes we start to think, "Well, I am my thoughts." Like I'm my ego. No, you're bigger than that. You're the thing that has an. You can use that mind as a tool, or you can live a slave to it.
Yes, that's good. That's good. And it's funny because even when I deal a lot with personality work, and I tell people too, this is just a part of you. Like it's a tool. It doesn't explain everything about you. You are way more than your personality. So you talk a lot about waking up sleeping giants, and I really like that concept because when you refer to people as giants, I imagine this big, powerful thing, but it's sleeping. What is the most wild, craziest, or direct thing you said to someone to wake them up?
You definitely, you definitely don't want to hear that here.
Okay.
But I can tell you a story.
Okay. Yeah, tell me a story instead.
Thousands of my clients who hear this are now going, "Oh my god, let me tell you the thing he said to me." I have a talent. I have a talent for saying that thing that everybody's thinking, but nobody's saying out loud. It says it like, you realize how dumb that was? Like, I yeah, I tell you, my thing is we learn through experience. Okay, so the mind is great, but when you have an experience, you can actually learn with your whole self. So
Yeah.
having a thought, if I can get you to think that you're really not showing up for your wife and your kids and get you to see that, hey, they deserve better from you. Okay, you had a thought. You might even have an emotion that comes from that thought. But if I
Right.
can give you an experience that shows you what it's like, what it's like. So I'll tell you this. This is pretty unorthodox. People might not like this, but it's true. I had a guy and he was just really shortchanging his wife and kids. I mean, he just wasn't showing up. Like he provided well with money. I mean, if his job was ATM, he was killing it. But if it was emotional support, leadership in the home, real community for his wife, he just
Right.
wasn't making it happen. He just kept
Yeah.
saying tomorrow, just well, when I have time, that kind of thing. I said, you know what it's like. I said, you're promising your family steak dinner, but then you know what? I tell you what, go get a couple slices of bread right now. So he goes and gets two slices of bread. And, I said, all right, we're going to go on a walk. So we're, FaceTime. We're on a walk and he's walking with these two slices of bread. He doesn't know what's happening. And I had him look until he found some dog shit. Like, hey, where is the dog crap? He found it. I said, all right, now go with the bread and put that on the bread. I said, now sit down and I want you to look at this shit sandwich. And I want you to know what it's like when you tell your kids, I'm going to take you to do this. And I want you to feel what it's like when you tell your wife, I'm going to be home at 6, I'm going to take you out. And then you stay at work until 10 p.m. and not
Right.
even call her. That
Yeah.
they're having to eat this sandwich. Like, like I'm not going to ask you to eat this sandwich. You'll probably, but he starts crying and he's like, man, I probably should eat this just to know what it's like. But like, what that does though is it underlines with the whole self. You can smell that, you can see that, you can because
Yeah.
he's not thinking of it like that in the moment. I'm gonna earn some extra money and that's good for them long term. But my dad used to do that. He would work, work, work. And I remember when I was 6 telling him, hey, I wanted to throw the ball. And he's like, I gotta go to work because we gotta make money. And I told my dad, I don't want to make money. I just want to throw the ball with you.
Oh,
To his credit, he threw the ball with me 10, 15 minutes anytime I wanted to. And I do the same thing with my son.
yeah.
We have a date today. Because yesterday he told me no when it was light and then it got dark. I said, well, it's gonna have to be tomorrow. We can't get out there right now.
Yeah.
You're gonna hit me in the face with the ball. I don't want that. But yeah,
And those are
that's
the things they remember too, right?
I'm not afraid to give people a very uncomfortable experience to help them see something. I'm also not afraid to have them have a joyful experience if that's what they need. A lot of
Right.
people need to remember how to have joy. They need to remember that they're a force of nature, that
Yeah.
you are not some bobbing, life preserver in this giant evil ocean of life that just wants to kill you. Like, no, you're a force of nature. You can
Yeah.
push back, you can navigate. You're not the only force of nature.
Right.
You're not. I mean, I'm
Right.
a force of nature. I will be reckoned with everywhere I am. And there's lots of people stronger than me. There's lots of things in life that knock me on my ass, but I'm
Yeah.
gonna get up. And
Yeah.
and and when the ocean gets deep, I just learn to swim. You
No, that's
know?
right. No, that's right. So I was like I told you, I binge on your IG, and one of the things that kind of sucker punched me is when you talked about. I think you start off with you don't want it, and you talked about stop saying you want to lose weight. You haven't lost weight in 20 years. I was like, is he talking to me? Is he talking to me? But you were speaking about you want it, right? Because if you really wanted it, you would do the thing. And I just wonder, how do you get people to the place where they actually want the thing that's coming out of their mouth?
I was talking to me. I'm losing weight for the first time in decades because I stopped saying I wanted it and I started actually wanting it. Some want to want something. And I think it's really important to admit that. I mean, if you're watching my 600-pound life eating potato chips, and this is me, and I'm not talking about myself, thinking, oh, I want to lose weight. Like I don't really want to lose weight. What I want is I want to lose weight. There's value in that. There's value in realizing, man, I don't really want this enough to do anything. Why
Yes.
is that?
Yeah.
I thought I had a heart attack 2 years ago. I had a heart attack.
Oh,
I got it
really?
tattooed on my arm here.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
and I thought that would be the thing that like, oh, it'll scare me
Yeah.
straight, No, not but a year in, I just realized like I want to live. Like I can't live the way I want to live if I
Yeah.
keep going where I'm going. And just admitting there's so much freedom in telling the truth. You know what? I don't wanna be thin. I think that was a huge, huge moment for me because look, what you want today is not what you want tomorrow. So if that's
Right.
really where you are, it's like, honestly, I want the emotional support of eating a cookie and feeling this fake love right now
Fake
more than
love.
I wanna lose weight because the cookies are this counterfeit. It's like this little way of hugging myself. Like because I'm telling you, it's consistent. I eat a cookie, I get a little warm feeling. Is that worth what I'm trading for it? No. And I wanna put down the counterfeit, but let's own what's real. What's real is I do get something out of it. Like, we
Yes.
can stop pretending we don't get something from it. People are like, "Oh, you get nothing from alcohol." Well, you get something. You get to run away from something or you get the courage to run at something. I mean, there's something because people are doing it, like, it's not nothing, and so if we can just get really honest, I will say I wanna lose weight, and what we really are saying is I really want to want it. When you really want something, when you have a true desire to do something, it's amazing. There's almost nothing that can stop us from getting that.
Right, right. That makes sense. And it's like if and that's a good awareness point too. If you keep saying it, but yet you're not doing it, admit to yourself you don't want it. Because if you wanted it, you would.
Usually when people are saying something over and over and they're not getting it, it's because their goal or their target is away from something. So
Mm,
because what they're saying is, I don't want to be fat, right? They're not saying I want to be fit and I want to fit this size or what I want to try to do is have something you're going towards. Because if my target is to walk to Ottawa, Canada, no matter how far away that is, I can see it. I know where it is. I can walk there, right? It might take
yeah.
forever. It might take a long time, but I can do it. Okay. If my target is to walk away from where I am, well, how far away? Like I'll take one step. And so people will lose 1 or 2 pounds, be proud, but then, well, okay. And then they go back, right? They just make sure that your targets are towards something that you know you want. Get real clear. What do you want? And why do you want it? Right now, I'm losing weight. Listen, I'm gonna be honest with you. I have a smoking hot wife. Like, I don't know how she's hotter at 50 than she was at 20. Like
Yes.
I do understand she puts a lot of work into it, but I mean, it's just amazing to me.
Amazing. Yeah.
And I right now, just like one of my targets, like I just want to be hot. Like I just want to look like her. I want to look like when I walk in the room, I just want to look like I belong with her and not like Everybody's trying to figure out if I'm her punishment, she's my blessing. You know what I mean? Like that's what's been happening. And yeah, one time in my adult life, you just walk in and people are like, wow, you look great. Okay, I want to do that. I want to feel what that's
Yeah.
like. As petty as that's not high minded. That isn't saving the world. That's just some petty desire. I'm okay with that. And I think more people should be okay with that. Like you
Yeah,
want
be
what you
okay with your
want.
petty goals, right?
Yeah. I mean, so many guys are like, I want to make $1 million. Why? And I know
Right.
why. So you can buy that motorbike. So that hot girl likes you. Like I know like kind of what's happening in your mind, but you're gonna tell me some high-minded thing about saving the world. Well, you don't care about that. Like let's just be honest with ourselves,
Yeah.
because then we can graduate up the scale to what's real. And I'm just really dedicated to what's real, having a real life, being powerfully imperfect, a lot of ways. I'm terrible in a lot of ways. And so are
Yeah.
you. And
Yes.
that's not an excuse to not be great. But
Right.
it's also not to say that you don't matter. Like you do matter. You don't have to be number one out of 8 billion to have value. That is what social media
That's
accidentally
really
teaches us.
good.
My son said, "Well, I'm not gonna run, Dad." I'm like, "Why?" "I'll never be as fast as Usain Bolt." I mean, he's like 6. How do you know? And yeah, you're right. You probably won't be that fast. Here, that's not a reason to never run because you'll never that's
Yeah.
crazy.
It's interesting how we do that to ourselves. It just, I want to be like this person. So I want to be like me. I want to be my awesome force to be reckoned with. Like it's that we have to get to that.
Look in the mirror. Can you look in the mirror and love yourself?
Yes.
Can you and this is a fun one because I specialize in taking people from where they are to where they want to be. I couldn't lose weight for so long because I hated being fat and I wanted to be this lovable thin thing.
Mm.
I started losing weight when I loved myself fat and I loved where I was going to go to. Also together, like I don't have to hate who I am to get to the next version of myself. I don't have to and I want to be this other person. No, this person's great. I'm fucking great fat me and I'm personable and I have a great wife and I have a great life and I
Yes.
don't want to be this anymore. And I just be this anymore. It's okay. It's okay that I was this. I'm not my life didn't end because I am like this, but I
That's actually powerful. That's a mic drop right there. So you coach, you build, you teach, you serve. My question is, who coaches you? Who fills your cup? Who gets you sharp and of yourself?
sure, I'm always in a group to have people. I've coached a lot of really high level people,
Yeah.
even billionaires. And, I always have a group of guys who are an inner circle who I
The
meet with once a
community.
week who, yes, I often run the call, but all of them will tell me how shitty I am and because I'm not different. It's not like I have an exemption at life. Like, oh, because I can teach you how to be great, that doesn't mean there's nothing wrong with me. I mean, come on, that's silly. Of those things. So creating groups where we can do that is one of my strengths, and
That's
I'll
good.
always be a part of that. You cannot see yourself. Like without a mirror, I can't see myself. You're in a room of 1,000 people, the only person you can't see in that room is you. That is also true emotionally. That is also true intellectually. Everything is facing out. And so you need a group of powerful people who will show you like, "Hey, you're doing this, you're doing that." Every elite person at anything has a coach and has a mentor. Why? Because they need that mirror.
Yep. You
And
need the mirror.
developing a mirror who's not just your girlfriend who's going to agree with every damn thing you said, but who's
Right.
going to say, "Hey, right. Most of the people I run with, if I go to them and I talk like, "Hey, let me tell you what my wife did. This is unbelievable. I can't believe she did this."
They'll
They're
check you.
gonna immediately say, "Well, you know why she did this because you did that, 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 and this kind of makes sense actually." Like they're not there to agree with me. They're there to give me real perspective, and
Yes.
having that in your life is powerful.
Yes. Oh my gosh. This was so amazing. I'm so glad that you were able to be here and share your perspective. I feel all coached up already. Just, I love it. But what do you have coming up or where can people find you?
Yeah, just I'm at It's Coach Kevin pretty much everywhere on social. I have a new app that's going to be coming out in a couple months. I have a book coming a few months after that. But really, yeah, just find me on socials. Let's have a conversation. I'd love it.
All right. Awesome. Well, thank you for being here.
And if it hits, let it sit. If it clicks, let it hit, let it sit.